He's going all the way. 20, 15, 10. Touchdown. Texas Tech takes home the victory.
Good morning, Red Raiders, and welcome to another episode of the Broadway Shuffle. Texas Tech fresh off a 42-0 victory against the Oklahoma State Cowboys this Saturday afternoon in Lubbock. I am Brennan Baxter, joined by Zyler Buchanan, Clayton Anderson, and Conrad Mills, and we are the Broadway Shuffle. And gentlemen, back to talking about a win. It was just a 1 week little hiccup there for Texas Tech, but you took care of business against the Oklahoma State Cowboys. We are going to react to that game, what that means for your season moving forward. We'll look at the Big 12. We're also going to talk to Texas Tech linebacker Jacob Rodriguez coming up here in a couple minutes. So going to be a great episode. We appreciate you guys tuning in, whether on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or Texas Tech Plus. We appreciate new and always around shufflers. So with that, let's get right into the reaction episode. Texas Tech, 38.5-point favorites. They cover 42-0. Zyler, we had a great time there in the Jones. No tortillas, by the way. There was a lot of anxiety before the game. We were talking to Robert Giovanetti before the game, and we were like, let's see what happens at 3:30. But Texas Tech students, fan base did a great job. Z, it was a ton of fun in the Jones on Saturday.
Yeah, great environment. And it was a lot of fun. The weirdest thing, and the only thing that I can really comp the environment to was like one of those beginning FCS games. And I know we talked about Oklahoma State basically being an FCS level team, and the game felt like that for pretty much the entirety. I mean, within the first 3 minutes, I looked over to Brennan. I was like, "You don't need to score again. I mean, it's 13-0. You don't need to score again." And that would have been.
You were right. You were right.
You could have returned the kickoff and mailed it in. That team, and not to disrespect Oklahoma State, but I mean they're just down bad in a lot of areas. I mean they're starting a converted quarterback or converted wide receiver at quarterback. I'm not going to beat my chest too much over stopping that team, defensively. But yeah, it was a fun environment. Tech does a great job, especially it was nice coming off the Arizona State environment. Tech just really, it's a much better environment than Arizona State. I know I'm biased, but they really do. It's a lot more professional, but it's really well done. It's very, very crisp, and the transitions are really nice. Nothing feels out of place. Yeah, fun game.
Yeah, I thought it was a great time, man. We also got a picture with Graham Harrell there on the field before. Congratulations to Graham on the great Ring of Honor induction. And yeah, it was interesting. Like the biggest point of the game, or what you thought you had the most anxiety over, was our tortillas going to cause us a penalty. Like it was kind of a weird feeling at kickoff, but everything went smooth sailing. And then Jacoby just lit the place up immediately. So it just kind of turned the place on its head. It was a ton of fun. Conrad, I know you were out of town, celebrating your brother there, had a good time in Mississippi.
Yeah, it was a good time. I will say I was a little nervous about the drive back. We listened to the game on the radio, which if you have never done that before, Brian Jensen is a fantastic radio guy. I mean, he is. We're really blessed to have him. I've never really listened to games on the radio. I've always watched it on TV or been there in person, but that was really fun to do. But I was a little concerned driving through SEC country. Would Greg Sankey allow Big 12? A Big 12 radio broadcast to make it into Mississippi and then Louisiana when we cross state lines. But no, it was great. Watch the highlights afterwards. We'll watch hopefully more of the game at some point this week. But it looked like a great game. Missed being there with you guys in the LBK, but we've got BYU in a couple weeks, so that should be fun.
Yeah, Clayton, biggest takeaways from this game on the offensive side. Obviously, we'll get into a plenty with Will Hammond getting injured. Baron Morton actually has to run out in pads to start the second half. But Mitch Griffiths came out, did a great job there to fill in and play a majority of, really the second to last drive from the second quarter on. Thoughts watching the game on the offense particularly? Yes, you score 42 points, but there were moments where it didn't necessarily look super pretty again.
Yeah, I think honestly my biggest takeaway is that it's not as bad as everyone was saying. I definitely get the concerns with the offensive line run blocking. That was not great. But I mean, you had a touchdown that you dropped, you missed a field goal, and then you fumbled in the red zone. That's at least 13 more points. Like if the final score of this game is 55-0, I don't think anyone is necessarily like complaining about the offense. Maybe the run game still, but I really don't think it was as bad as like the online reaction would make you think. Obviously, there's things to clean up, and you definitely need to block better next week to win. But I really don't. I don't understand like the outrage that I saw on the offense specifically.
Yeah, Zyler, I was getting a lot of texts. Why do I not feel good about a 42-0 victory? And I was like, you should always feel good about a 42-0 victory. It is kind of funny, just like the expectations have just been skyrocketed for this team that we've just not been accustomed to. Where some people feel unhappy when you don't look perfect, even when you shut a team out.
Yeah, and I think that's a product of your own expectations. I think afterwards you think about it, it's like, you just to take the series lead against a conference foe that has dominated you for the better part of the last 15 years. You skunked them for your first shutout since 2005 in Big 12 play, and you won by 42 points. Not going to be a ton of complaints for me. Now, I think projecting forward is what people are really concerned about. It's not that we're only winning by 42. It's I want to feel confident about us in our next two games, which will really define your season. And I think some of that stuff is merited and validated. I think to Clayton's point, you had a lot of stuff that could have made your offensive performance look a lot better. But also, I mean, you had a touchdown drive that took one play that started on the 18-yard line or wherever it was. You had a kickoff return touchdown, and then you had a defensive strip. So, if you take out a lot of that stuff, you really didn't score that much. I mean, 21-0. You put up 3 touchdown drives against this team. And to be fair, Oklahoma State has been much better on the defensive side of the ball since Clinton Bowen, or remind me his name. Yeah, Clinton Bowen has taken over. I saw a factoid about him. They had been averaging 5.4 yards a carry on rush defense. As soon as he took over, that number dropped all the way down to 2.9 yards a carry. So they have gotten better on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm not going to say that's a good unit, but this isn't the rush defense that Oregon was playing back in Eugene. That's not going to make excuses. I still think this was the worst offensive line performance you've had all year. The execution really wasn't there at a high level, and I think that was really disappointing, at least in that regard. When I went back and watched the game, though, I actually thought Will played pretty well. He executed at a pretty high level. Maybe the stats didn't. I think that was a play calling thing and a run game thing more than it was a Will Hammond execution thing. But yeah, those are kind of my general thoughts on the offensive performance. Just kind of okay.
Conrad, do you feel like with the offense, Baron Morton, we've talked about this now for a couple weeks. I mean, it really seems that just having him behind center, kind of how we talked about Taj last year, where when Taj is back there, you just felt more comfortable regardless of the result. Like we remember the Washington State game a year ago, and it's like you were totally lost without just having Taj's presence. It really feels like that is Baron this year. I mean, no discredit to Will or Mitch, but they've just looked a little off pretty much the last 3+ weeks, and hopefully getting Baron back, who he will be starting, obviously, against Kansas State, but we might feel a little more comfortable. But it has looked a little rocky. I think that is fair to say.
Yeah, I don't think there's any problem saying it's looked rocky. I mean, it hasn't looked exactly like you thought it would. It hasn't looked like it did earlier in the year. Granted, different level of competition for the most part, but it's weird for a Texas Tech fan to necessarily sit here and say, do we have a quarterback issue, challenge? I mean, what's going on here? Obviously, with Baron being hurt, Baron's a good player, but people forget too. We mentioned it a couple episodes ago. That first half against Utah, I mean, he wasn't bad, but he also wasn't great. And so, looking at Baron coming back, I think that gives me much more confidence than having Will back there with how he's played. No disrespect to Mitch, played a great game on Saturday, but he's not quite the level that Baron is. And so we'll see how it plays out. I just I'm still a little bit nervous about the quarterback position, about the offensive line, as Zyler already mentioned. I mean, granted, you do have a great defense, like we've said, but you just can't expect the defense to do everything. Your offense has to do something. And I think fans are just concerned that maybe the offense isn't quite to the level you wanted it to be at yet, and we're 8 games into the season. And so I think if there's cause for concern, that's it, that you're not executing quite at the level you'd hoped. But then again, we still do have several games to go, and I think getting Baron back will make a big difference. Clayton, do you share that sentiment about having Baron back behind center instead of Will, or do you think it's really how big of a difference do you think it will make having Baron back there?
Oh, I mean, I think it makes a huge difference. Not that Will has been playing terribly, but like I don't have a lot of problems with the offense with Baron. I know, like, we keep talking about the first half against Utah, but look at what Utah has done to basically every other team they've faced defensively. Like, that's a really good defense, really good environment. And I don't think he played bad in that. Like, I think he had 2 bad throws that were kind of fluky turnovers. But other than that,
not even bad.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah.
Like a 50-50 ball that turned into a pick. But yeah, I think getting him back, and I also think like it's I know it's like a couple games in a row, but it's hard to perform like near perfect offensively every game. Like, Oregon was playing basically not the same level of competition, but Wisconsin is pretty bad, and they put up 21 points against them. So like, I don't know. I feel like if you're winning, yeah, and like when you're not being pushed, like you're immediately up 14-0, it's easy to take your foot off the gas. And like Zyler said, like you don't think the players knew that they could coast the rest of the game and win. Like, I don't know. I think I don't have a lot of concerns on the offense with Barron.
Conrad, I have this stat for you. I was just curious because I was like, how good has Barron actually been? So I went back through all of his FBS games and I wanted to track the quarters because I just wanted to do it by quarters and drives that he's started and finished and what he's done, per drive, yards per quarter. And if you take just the quarters that he's started and finished, so that's only 10 against FBS opponents. So this doesn't include all his FCS stuff. He's averaging almost 150 yards per quarter and over 10 points a quarter. So if you aggregate it out, you're looking at an offense that's putting almost 600 yards up and 40 points a game. I think Barron is just critically underrated. I think he is just, he's going to be the engine that kind of makes this thing go. And this is a guy that was pretty critical of Barron in the offseason, but he just does a lot of really small things pretty well. And your offense just clearly clicks better with him. You have not had, outside of the Utah game, which is now, they're a top almost 6 team in SP Plus right now. You're talking about like better than almost every SEC team, Utah Utes. You went in there and won that game by 24, where Barron, you had a 7-point lead going into halftime under Barron. I just think he's really going to ignite this offense, and we're gonna forget all about these offensive struggles.
Yeah, that is a great point. I mean, you're right. Barron does a lot of little things very well. He might not be the most sexy and flashy guy when it comes to what he's doing, but he does what you need him to do, and I think that's been consistent over the last couple of years for him. But that's been the problem. Is this year he hasn't been able to stay on the field as regularly as we need him to. And that's also a big component of playing quarterback is staying on the field and staying healthy. But you've been able to get through at 7-1. We talked about it on the preview episode that not many people listen to. We get it, but we hope you guys are back. That, you just a little dig there. And by the way, just to that point, we understand it's tough coming off a loss, but good vibes here this week for the Red Raiders. That Barron Morton, it is important for him to just find a way to maintain health. That's such a key area. It's don't put yourself in positions to risk getting hurt. And now more than ever with the news on Will, Mitch looks like he's capable as well too, but he was your third string quarterback. Speaking of Mitch, that you've got to stay on the field, man. Like if Barron Morton does not start and finish the last 4 games, you're going to have a very difficult time winning the Big 12 or even getting to the Big 12 championship. So that is essential for the rest of your season.
Conrad, one thing I want to say, and I agree almost wholeheartedly, Barron. If Barron's not playing the next 16 quarters, your season is not going to go where you want it to be. He's got to be, he's got to be the guy. And on the Will thing, we're hoping that it's not an ACL tear. I know that's what the hot rumor is on the message boards and what you've seen online. Just for his sake, man, just a devastating, if it is a season-ending injury, to think about him having the reins for the team next year and you tear your ACL basically at the beginning of November on a 9 to 10 month recovery time. Like you're hoping to be ready for the beginning of next season. This is a topic I kind of wanted to get into. Like, what do you do if you're Texas Tech? And I know that this season is front and center, and maybe this is a conversation for a later date, but you're going to find out in the next 2 months what you're going to do at that quarterback position. There's only one transfer window. You will have your quarterback for 2026 on this team by January 10th. And if Will's out for the season, it almost like breaks my heart because you're working for that. You're working to that. And to have it kind of, hopefully not, but, potentially snatched by an injury, that's a really tricky situation for the personnel department to be in, for Joey to be in. I have no idea how I would navigate that. And I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's not something that we thought we'd be talking about. Obviously, injuries happen. We know that better than any fan base when it comes to the quarterback position. But thinking about Will and what he could still be, I mean, he's a good quarterback. He's young, like you guys mentioned. We had a little disagreement on how young is he really, just all the reps he's gotten. But I don't know. I mean, if it is an ACL, I will say. So let me say this: Will's a good quarterback. He's a very good quarterback. I'm very thankful he's here. I don't think that he has done enough for me to not have, even if he was healthy, to not have a competition with some other starter caliber player going into next year. I don't think we've seen enough. Now, if he had come out and thrown 3 touchdowns, 300 yards against Arizona State, we win that game by 14 points. He throws for 400 yesterday against Oklahoma State. I'm probably sounding a little bit different, but because both those things didn't happen, I think the team would be at a disservice if we didn't at least bring someone in. Again, this is assuming he's not healthy. If he is healthy. If he's not healthy, though, you just don't know what that recovery is going to be like, right? I mean, you guys said this more than anybody else.
Minimum 9 months.
And you guys even said this with Barron. Like, is Barron going to be healthy? Which I'm proud to report his shoulder is very healthy. Everything else, I mean, other things are tough, but at the same time, you have to be able to consider this team cannot be in the position we're in now next year with quarterback being a place of concern from the injury perspective.
Well, the question to me is not, do you bring in a quarterback? It's how much money do you put into that quarterback to bring in? Because let's say you pay.
And Will's on a 2-year deal. You're locked in.
Right. So let's say you bring in a $3 million guy, like a true, power 4 level starter guy. Well, then that guy's going to expect to start. So you're risking a lot this offseason if you go with a little less, like, hey, you might have the chance to start, and so we're not going to invest as much in that position. Or you're going to essentially tell Will, man, recover for another year, because if it is an ACL, he's not going to be ready until August, and then maybe recover for another year, and we'll catch you at 2027, which is a hard ask and no guarantee. So it does put Tech in a tricky situation. I would disagree with Conrad on the sense that I think that Will has done enough to show that he has potential to start in 2026 in sense of what his ability is in the future. You don't have to be a finished product as a redshirt freshman who's played less than 4 games total to give me the opportunity to start in 2026, Clay. I just feel like that's going to be a really tricky spot due to the injury that Tech will be in after the season.
I actually kind of feel like the injury made it easier. Like, I think it's much trickier if you're going into next year saying, like, do we want to put all our eggs in the basket of Will and just, like, go get another backup? I feel like at this point, you have to get a guy that you could start. Like, whether you're getting, like, a Carson Beck type or, like, I don't know, someone below that. But, like, I feel like it would be malpractice to not get a quarterback that you feel like could start with a guy coming off a 10-month injury who's never been like the full-time starter. I kind of feel like it made it easier, to be honest.
And what I was saying too is not that Will's not a good player or that he hasn't showed he can start, because he obviously can. I'm just saying he hasn't played at the level to where he shouldn't at least be challenged in a quarterback competition. He needs to be challenged. If we would go into next year at this point with how this season's gone and saying no competition, Will's QB1, I think that's stepping a little bit too far, but that's me sitting here as a podcaster on YouTube, not necessarily as a personnel department or as a coach. But that's where I'm like, I need more from him to give him the unquestioned QB1 role. But then again, that's not my decision.
I think Brennan brings up a really interesting point, because I think, and we all thought that you'd bring in a backup or you'd bring in another QB. It's just the pitch. Like, so if Will was healthy, what quality and caliber of player are you getting where you say, hey, listen, we have an entrenched starter. We have, here's your role. How much do you invest in that position? Now I think I think you will bring in a quarterback, but what is your pitch and how much are you investing? Like, and when you look at the transfer quarterbacks, at least the high profile ones this year, Carson Beck, middling results. Jackson Arnold, bad results. John Mateer, I would argue middling to bad results. Fernando Mendoza has really been like the only big success story. QB transfers is just like a high risk, very, very low floor. And so if you're saying Will's still kind of our guy, we want to bring in somebody to compete for that job, how much money do you invest in that spot? And also, who's willing to come in and compete for that position? Like, who is that quarterback that's good enough to win you a lot of games in the Big 12 that's also willing to be in a competition? Like, that's just the weird. Yeah. It's like Griffiths. Like, where do you find a guy that's getting a third string role? You find him laying concrete last year. Not playing football anymore. So, I don't have an answer. I am describing the problem. I do not have a prescription.
Those guys are out there though. Like, there are guys who feel like they can win. I mean, Bo Prabula transferred to Mizzou without knowing that he would start. Like Trinidad Chambliss, I know he was D2, but he transferred to Ole Miss.
Yeah. If you're like, but the D2,
yeah,
like,
I'm not
that
saying that's
feels like a lottery ticket.
Safe. Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
But like,
Well, guys, it's a great conversation, and we're going to continue it throughout the course of maybe not this season, because Barron will have more news, more wins to talk about. Definitely off season, but we've got a pretty special player joining us coming up on the Broadway Shuffle, and that's Texas Tech linebacker Jacob Rodriguez. Jacob Rodriguez is here with us now at the Broadway Shuffle. Jacob, thanks for being here, man. Great game yesterday. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I always love the time to talk to you guys. I appreciate you guys, giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, man, I think you might be the first returning player that we've had, I believe. So welcome back to the Broadway Shuffle. We had you on. You're one of our first guys a year ago. So it was such a pleasure to talk to you again, man. 42-0 yesterday. Just want to get right into the game. First time since 2005, Texas Tech has shut out a Big 12 opponent. We heard that Joey talk in the locker room after the game. How meaningful is it for you as a defensive unit to feel like you just pitched a shutout? What does that do for your confidence? You've had a great year now, 8 games in, but that must have felt pretty special to accomplish a feat that has not been done in 20 years.
Yeah, I think, it's a great defensive feat. I think you guys, you have a lot of mistakes on the field at times, but effort covers it all up. And so we're out there flying around, trying to make plays happen and just kind of, try to do our job the best we can, but then overlap. But for a great defensive game, to pitch a shutout, you have to have a great game on all 3 phases. And so, we had, great special teams play this week with a touchdown and a block kick. And then on offense, time of possession really helps. And so our offense will be able to move the ball down the field. And, all that accredits to a shutout. And so, they're really hard to get. Like you said, it's been a long time since we've had one. And so I think all 3 phases definitely play a part of that.
Yeah, Jacob, and it was really cool to see that done against Oklahoma State, a team that we have not fared too well against in recent years. Hopefully that'll change. It will change in the future. But just thinking about this season as a whole, obviously last week in Tempe, things didn't go the way anybody wanted. Talk about the week of practice, what that was like for the team, just rallying together, staying tight, and coming out and doing what you guys did yesterday against the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Yeah, I think anytime you come off a loss, you kind of just look in the mirror and try to see what you can do different. Kind of, if you cut the corners anywhere, you kind of look at that. And I think the overwhelming majority was, we just wasn't our day. We just got to play better and do our job better. And so there's nothing we're doing preparation-wise that isn't, up to standard. And so we kind of just pulled together and just had a great week of practice. We came out and had a great Tuesday, had a great Wednesday. And then we got into walkthroughs on, Thursday and Friday, tighten things up. And I think we had a great plan. But I think everybody kind of, pulled tighter together after that loss.
You had a strip sack and a touchdown this game. I feel like I've never seen a player force more fumbles than you. Walk us through that play and also tell us about how much you guys practice punching the ball out or just stripping it away.
Yeah, I think that specific play, I missed one earlier on the same drive where, I'm trying to fit a gap and, because we have, very good leverage, the hole gets extremely tight to where I can't really reach in and get in. He ends up, squirting out and we, it's like a 7 or 8 yard gain. And so the next time I was able to finally, get my hands on it and rip it away. But I think that just comes down to we practice it all the time, whether it's punching the ball out or ripping the ball or, taking the ball away through the air. We practice it every single day. Coach McGuire sends us a text every single day as a defensive unit, telling us to take the ball away. And he sends us a little clip, whether it's from Twitter or a film from a previous game. It's something that has to become, we talk about all the time, it has to become a culture to be able to take the ball away. So even in practice, every single rep of practice, if the ball is on the ground, it's a defensive ball. So we are going to pick it up. And, you always have equipment managers running around to pick up the ball and spot it for the next play. We are they don't have to do that anymore. We are going around and we're picking up every single football that's on the ground. We're trying to take it away every time we can. And so it's just something that we practice every single day. It's something that's on our minds every single day. And it makes it fun when you can do it in the game because of how hard you work it.
Jacob, I love that, man. I'm going to comment on a couple things, and I've got a few questions here. Joey mentioned Heisman talk for you. What is that like coming from your head coach? How do you handle that? And I'm not saying you don't deserve it, but man, that's high praise for a linebacker. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's huge praise. And I love Coach McGuire, and I do everything I can for him. But I don't know if I've been playing well enough to be a Heisman candidate yet. I'm hoping to get there.
There you go.
Man, that's a huge praise. And, I love it coming from him, but, I just got to keep going to try to find a way to win. And I might find myself in that conversation, moving forward if we keep winning, which would be really nice. But, I think the biggest goal is just trying to go 1-0.
Sure. Talk about, you scored you tackled a running back and then took the ball from him and then went and scored a touchdown. I don't know that you could get more humiliated as a running back if that happened to you in a game, but for your personal career, where does that play rank for you?
You
just got so many.
I feel like it's up there. There's a few that come to mind. All the way back to high school. So, there's just been a lot of football I played. It's definitely one of the more fun ones for sure. I think, that's the second touchdown I scored in college. And last year I scored against Oklahoma State.
Oh, yeah.
Recovering a fumble, and so this one was way better being able to run it back into the end zone. But it's definitely high, but I can't pinpoint a specific number.
And then final one from me, you guys are going into Manhattan this week. Big game. That's a team that's playing well. The Wildcats are kind of getting their footing. What's the mindset from you and the defense? How are you guys approaching this? How do you handle the pressure? Just talk me through a little bit about that and your guys' preparation.
Yeah, it gets tricky because you look at a team like K-State and, they have a couple early losses, but, we talked about it. Their loss margin, I think, would a combined of 14 points. Like they could easily be undefeated right now.
Yeah.
And they had some weird things happen in some games to where I think this is I think they should be unbeaten Kansas State team. We're going to have to go on the road and play in a big game. They are very effective at running the ball, throwing the ball. Excuse me. And I've never beat Kansas State, and I don't know. Our coach Joe Wood, defensive coordinator, played them when he was at Houston last year, and he had some success. But I think it's just the biggest game of the year for us because everything's in front of us. And so there's not too much pressure around it because, we're always looking for just trying to find a way to win that game, do whatever it takes to win the next game. And then it'll still all be in front of us. And so, I'm very excited. I think, when you play competitive football, you want to play against the best. And so when you have a team like Kansas State who's coming out and they've been playing really well as of recent, it just makes it more fun. It makes the week leading up to it more fun, try to put all the time into preparing and getting ready for it. And, I think they're very well coached, and I think they're going to be ready for us.
Yeah, 2:30 kick there next Saturday in Manhattan. Jacob, I want to close with this question, man, and thanks again for being here with us on the Broadway Shuffle. But the mustache thing, it's been such a cool kind of just, I don't know what you even call it, what you guys are doing with it. It looks great, by the way. Do you like rocking the stash, or are you kind of ready for it to be something different, or is this a look that it's a go-to thing for you?
It's just easy during the year because it's kind of superstitious now. Like I have to shave on Friday night before the game. I have to do certain things. So it's like that. But also, I look like a child when I shave it. And so I gotta, my wife tells me that I have to either keep it or grow the beard out. And so, the superstition thing is keeping me from growing the beard right now. But it's just something that we've done for the past couple of years. And now it's just kind of surfacing.
It's great, man. I thought y'all were going to be doing a Got Milk commercial or something earlier this year. I was so confused, but it's so fun. It just brings y'all in not just a linebacker room, but I feel like the team together. So your wife likes the mustache then?
Yeah, she hated it at first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it grew on her. She's
come around.
But, yeah, she has.
Yeah, man.
Very
And
thankful.
what a great story too. I mean, there was that piece for the Houston game with you and your family. Just such a blessing to have her. And I believe she was at the game this weekend as well, too, right?
Yes, yeah, she
That's
was able to
awesome,
make
man.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
man, just such a cool story, and we're just so thankful. Conrad, you want to close us out with one final question?
Yeah, I was just going to ask. I mean, what's this team, obviously, from what we see, and we're just looking in from the outside, it appears to us to just be such a close knit team. Everybody just loves each other, cares for each other, and even going through some adversity. What are the feelings like in the locker room, just with this group of guys going into next week? Like you said, the biggest game of the year, but even after that, and all the goals that Texas Tech has had, everything's still in front of us. What's just the feeling like? What are the vibes like, and how are you guys enjoying this season so far?
I mean, this is the most fun I've ever had playing football, and I think it is because we're such a close knit team. I mean, yeah, it's nice to win, but I mean, it's so much nicer to do it with people you care about
Sure.
and people you want to be around, and people who are high performing in their own right, and want to excel at what they're doing. And so if we all have that mindset, and I mean, we all hang out on and off the field. And so, I mean, it's great to see that other people outside looking in could see that, because it's something that we take seriously. That we always talk about. I mean, however much you care about somebody, you'll show them by how hard you play. And so, the harder you play shows somebody that you love them that much more. And so, if we can keep putting that on tape and people can keep seeing that, it's something that we'll, hang our hat on and we'll be happy for. But yeah, I mean, this is a great group of guys that, I love. And like I said, I haven't had this much fun playing football in my life. It's the best.
Love that answer.
That's great to hear, man. Well, we love watching you, man. It looks like y'all are having a lot of fun. You're having a great season. You're a great leader and representative for this team and university as well, man. So just appreciate you taking time to come back to the Broadway Shuffle. You're obviously welcome anytime. Jacob, have a great week of practice. Get some rest, and we'll look forward to watching you on Saturday. All right, man?
I appreciate you guys. I always love coming on.
Anytime, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Jacob Rodriguez for Heisman. I'm here for it, man. Great time with Jacob. Yeah, first recurring player. I'd be awesome to get to maybe talk to Jacob again later down the line. Hope you guys enjoyed that. The defense, man, we can talk about the offense, and we will get into the offense again here in a second, but this defense continues just to be dominant, and these guys are so much fun to watch, and Jacob's obviously a key piece of that. What do you guys think? You think if you go 11-1 and the defense keeps looking like this and Jacob keeps playing lights out, he'd have a chance to go to New York? Or I don't know. That seems a lot for him. But like, this is a year to do it. There's not anyone crazy going off. Maybe there's a chance.
He should be a finalist for best linebacker in the country. I mean, at this point, he should be the favorite. It's probably him or Torian York from A&M, right?
Oh, I think Jacob will win that. Especially if he keeps playing like this. I don't know if that'll be particularly close.
And the thing is, there's guys that are going to have more tackles than him because they're on these terrible defenses. He is continuing to be a stat accumulator and forcing a ton of 3-and-outs and being a play. Like, he didn't get as many snaps as some of these other guys do. And he's missed like basically 2 whole games because you sat out for the half against the 2 FCS teams, and you sat out the half against Oregon State, and you got to basically sit out the half against Oklahoma State. So he's got a campaign going that's basically 2 games down compared to a lot of his competitors. So incredibly impressive resume. He's probably the best linebacker you've ever had, and you've had Zach Thomas and Jordan Brooks come through here. He will be sorely missed, but he's got a lot left in front of him, and excited to see kind of where his career ends up.
Yeah, man. Key thoughts on the defense, real quick. I know it's hard, They give up 0 points.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do you really need to say? But it was an effective performance.
It was. I thought two notes, and then you guys can chime in. I mean, it was 2.8 yards per passing attempt, less than 3 yards per rush. Granted, I mean, we've talked about their QB situation. The one thing that I will say, I thought Cole Wisniewski had his best and his first breakout game as a Red Raider. He was all over the trick and the gadget plays, just like in the right spot at all the right times. Thought it was his best game, and was very impressed with him on the back end. It's kind of the first time that I've said that where he stood out and impressed me.
Yeah, I think it's something that, looking at this defense, I mean, what's the most points we've let up? 26 last week against Arizona State.
Yeah.
I mean, I have nothing but praises for the defense. I mean, this defensive unit coached by Coach Wood, I mean, it's just, You obviously, with the personnel obviously is upgraded, but just even the way they're playing together, the way they're making plays, closing gaps, reading their keys. I mean, these guys are just they're pros. I mean, and a lot of them will be. And so it's looking at this team. This defense is going to travel to Manhattan. I'm not surprised at the way everything went yesterday, but I think, assuming you keep everybody healthy, you're going to see more of the same the rest of the year because this group really is that good.
Conrad, I want to bust in two things that just came across our timeline. We record Sunday night, so is confirmed Will Hammond, torn ACL, Brian Kelly fired at LSU. Both equally monumental news in the sport. And I don't really know that it would have, I think that's what we all kind of feared with Will. Does that change kind of your opinion? Do you have any additional thoughts on that? I mean, such a bummer. I mean, I guess I'll start with that. Horrible timing, and I feel horrible for the kid. He's done everything the right way. I love Will. But yeah, your thoughts, Conrad.
Yeah, I mean, for Will, he hasn't played necessarily the way he's played well overall, but I would have hoped for a bigger jump from redshirt freshman year or from his freshman year to his redshirt freshman year. It just stinks. I mean, that's all we can really say right now. I mean, does everything the right way, spends more time at the facility than anybody. His teammates love him. The fans love him. It just stinks that it has to happen, especially in October, right? On October 25th, because that's a 9-10 month recovery. I mean, that's going to be pushing it to get ready for August. And so just bummed for him, but I know he's going to attack it like nobody else because that's just the kind of player he is, the kind of man he is. I will say, though, you have to bring in a starting level quarterback. I mean, you just don't know. Recovering from an ACL injury, there are so many unknowns right now for Texas Tech. And so with Barron obviously leaving, you have to bring in a guy that you're like, we could trot that guy out day one. Now, how that all works is as you listen to this episode, we don't get paid the big bucks to make those decisions. But at the same time, you just have to do that because that's going to make a big difference in this team's success in 2026. We're still focused on 2025, but 2026 does loom in the near future as well. Brennan, what are your thoughts on that? Would you change any of your sentiment about Will just from and the quarterback position at Texas Tech after the news is officially confirmed?
No, I think I would just answer my own question that you need to spend $3 million in the portal on quarterback now. I think.
Will you donate that money? Will you donate?
Podcasts are going pretty well. We'll see. We'll see what happens in a couple months. But I think that, a starting level quarterback, I mean, I guess it depends on the goals. I mean, you are losing a ton next year. And I don't want to get too much into 2026 because we have so much to talk about here. But just staying on the quarterback conversation, you've got to get a guy that can play quarterback well and that can start and that can win games. Not just a starting level, but who is that guy? I don't know. But there's no guarantee, especially off an ACL, that Will Hammond is going to be ready to roll come August 2026 and that is going to be the same guy or going to be able to be as mobile or as, he's running as a big part of Will's skill set. So I don't know. This is devastating news, man. It hurts to get that. I mean, while we're recording here and to see that come across. I know it was reported, but just stinks, man. I feel for the kid.
Yeah, it sucks to hear that. The QB injury curse at Tech is just devastating, man.
It's crazy, man. It's anyway, I mean, we can talk about that later, but oh man, it's just like, it's a nightmare for a personnel department. It's a nightmare for Will. It's a nightmare and it's like, you can't even focus on that right now because you have 2025 that is like very firmly in reach. And the other thing, like if you want to relate it to this season, like, and nothing against Mitch Griffiths, like I thought he came in and performed admirably. Your QB2 is a guy that was laying concrete 12 months ago.
Yeah.
On a team that has college football playoff aspirations. That's where you are. And the guy that came in after Mitch is a true freshman that walked on. And it's like, at this point, like, are we going to see Holden Phillips in a serious capacity? Like, I guess Chubba Jones, the 4-star that you brought in, isn't ready. I mean, that's just like it's Barron or bust right now. And he has started and finished one Big 12 game so far.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely puts your season in a position. I think Barron or bust is a great way to put it. You just have to have him on the field at this point. And it's not like last year through 8 games where you're coming off a huge loss to Baylor and a tough loss to TCU. And you're really on the outside looking into the Big 12. Like, you're here, man. You don't technically control your own destiny, but you do in a way. I mean, well, you do actually if you beat BYU now. So you do control your own destiny.
Yeah.
And so we'll get into it, but I kind of forgot Arizona State lost there for a second. And so it's way different this year. Like, you can't afford it. And I mean, it sucks to be in this position, but you just got to hope and pray that Baron Morton can play good football until January.
Go ahead, Conrad.
I will say, I'm not an offensive schematic guru like Zyler Buchanan is, but what I am is concerned about Barron getting injured. And so if I see a called quarterback run, especially at this point for Barron, that's not like a read option on the 1 yard line with, on a 4th down or something like that, I'll be pretty upset, just because it's really, it is Barron or bust. And I think that was already the case, but I think it's even more clear now with the Will injury news.
Yeah, that's a great point. Does this change play calling, Clay? And should it? I mean, you got to see something. You've got to be able to say, like, we can't put this guy at risk at all.
Yeah, I think it for sure should.
Barron has not gotten injured on a design QB run. Like, it's always random fluky scrambles or the offensive line letting him get sacked.
Didn't he? Wait, I thought he hurt his shoulder on a design. Was that a scramble?
No, the scramble.
Like
the scramble in. I was saying this season. Sorry, I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, dude,
still though, just putting him in any position, I'm not.
If it's your best play, it's your best play.
He also, I do agree with that. Like, if it's if you're playing BYU, you're down by 3 with 1:30 left. Like, at that point, you got to do whatever. Yeah. But he also has to know to slide like that in the Utah game when he got hurt. Like, you can't be doing stuff like that anymore. And I appreciate like his willingness to put his body on his line, but there's bigger goals than a couple extra yards here and there.
Yeah.
It's just, dude, oh my gosh, like, I can just envision. And I'm not even going to put it in.
I hate where this is going. I hate where this is going because you're 7-1, you're 4-1 in conference. You're off a 42 zip win. We're thinking worst case scenarios here, and it sucks. I mean, and a lot of us trusted Will, and I think that's why some of us had the opinions in the fan base that we did after the Arizona State performance, because we were high on Will and thought that he could play extremely well, and we still do. But this just changes the complexity or the security of your team moving forward, which is a concern. But I do want to transition out of the quarterback thing. We'll get to Brian Kelly here in a little bit. But I do have one overreaction or reality as we kind of move into the national stage of the show and we react to some of what's been going on in the Big 12. I mentioned Houston knocking off Arizona State on the road to improve to 7-1. Their only losses to you at home. So my one overreaction or reality question for you guys is, the Big 12 is being overlooked nationally. Overreaction or reality?
Reality. I genuinely think that Utah is a top 10 to 12 team in the country, and they're 24th. BYU is extremely disrespected. I think Tech is a top 10 team. Cincinnati is very good.
And Houston's schedule is like one of those things that I get where you can nitpick at. Like, if I'm going to come at Georgia Tech, I should probably come at Houston too. But it's just crazy that it took them being 7-1 to even even sniff the AP poll. Like, Texas is moving up after barely beating Kentucky and barely beating Mississippi State. It's just like the logo bias is crazy. And there are great teams in the SEC and great teams in the Big 10. The Big 12 teams will never get the benefit of the doubt. And Utah, I mean, is playing like they're playing like a team that can win playoff games. And it's like, oh yeah, you can be 24th. It's just, and it once again goes to what we talk about. The AP poll is really stupid. It's just not a good way to evaluate teams. And it's not a good way to evaluate. If anybody ever tells you like they have X amount of ranked wins, according to the AP poll, you can just disregard their opinion entirely. They don't know ball. It's just not a real metric. Like, it's just not. I saw somebody quote tweet today. They're like, Alabama knocked off the preseason number 13 team, South Carolina. And it's like, and what are we talking about here?
Right.
Who cares?
Well, it's
October.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the reason I wanted to ask the question was because when the AP poll came out this afternoon, and I'm looking 24, 19, 13, 11, or I think it was BYU 10 or 11. I'm trying
They're
to, I think
10.
Tied for
10.
10th.
So you have an undefeated Big 12 team
Mhm.
that's 8-0. They beat that Utah team that we're high on, that we also beat. And the Utah win elevated us into the top 10. And so BYU sitting there at 10 and Tech sitting there at 13 with their only loss. They dropped from 7 to 14, move up 1. Only loss being the Arizona State game. I'm just like, there's 5 ranked teams in the poll, but they're all ranked, I think, lower
low.
than they should be. And so I would say this is a reality that it's not bowing up well for you if whichever team, maybe Houston goes 11-1 and misses out on the Big 12, and then all of a sudden, like, they're out of the playoff. Like, this is looking very clearly, if the college football playoff rankings are going to sit the same as the AP poll, that only one Big 12 school will be getting in, and that'll be the champion of the conference.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate because there are more, I think the Big 12 is definitely deserving of 2 teams. Now you get to 3 and 4 teams, that's a different conversation altogether. But I don't think that's what any Big 12 fan or supporter would necessarily be, saying that should happen. I mean, it's the Big 12 obviously plays good football. There are good players, good teams in the Big 12, well-coached teams. And so I do think that this is a conference that deserves multiple teams in the playoff. But as we know, SEC ESPN is definitely going to be showing their hand a little bit in terms of who they want in the playoff and why and where.
I would love to know, or I would love to have someone explain to me the difference between Georgia Tech's resume and BYU's for why they're 3 spots higher, and also Oregon's resume versus Tech's. Like, if someone can just lay that out for why there is such a stark difference in the rankings of those 4 teams, I would love to hear that.
I can tell it to you right now. It's perceived value of that win over Penn State. A lot of people watched it. That's all it is.
And the perceived value of Georgia Tech's win against Clemson. That's literally it.
It's like a garbage win.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why we have the Broadway Shuffle poll that comes out on Thursdays. So no worries. We'll cover you there. No bias at all.
No bias,
there.
none at all.
Texas Tech has never been number 1 in that poll, just so you're clear. So there is no bias. If we were super biased, that's where they'd be all the time, right? And they're not there, at least to my knowledge yet. We'll see. So let's get to some of those national games and Big 12 games. Kansas State, who you play on Saturday, smacked Kansas in Lawrence. Cincinnati wins again. They smacked Baylor. And is Dave Aranda gone? That's going to be an interesting question to see for sure.
I think Dave Aranda's
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's time at this point too. This season's gone south. It might get worse. Houston, like I said, Houston saves you. Houston comes up clutch, dominates Arizona State for the majority of that game. So now Arizona State drops to 2 losses in the conference. So you are now ahead of them. There are now 12 of the 16 teams in the Big 12 with 2 losses or more. Looks like a 4-team race. You can almost solidify that with a win Saturday against Kansas State. Thoughts on the Big 12 guys, and thoughts on really what happened around national football, the national landscape as well. A&M smacked LSU. Using a lot of smacking right now, but a lot of smacking went on, and then Brian Kelly gets fired. I mean, this is going to be the craziest coaching carousel. But let's get to the Big 12 first, and then I'll touch on the coaching.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like Cincinnati, and I think you got to give credit, man. You play the games that are in front of you, and they beat what was thought to be a good Baylor team in the preseason. They beat Iowa State, who's really fallen back down to earth. They go to Utah at night this week. You win that game, and I will be firmly on this is a legit team. Their schedule just really tough. They're going to have Cincinnati. They're going to have Utah, and they're going to have BYU. And so, show me. Like, let's see it. Let's see if you're real. And I do think they're for real. I think Brendan Sorsby's the best quarterback in the Big 12. Like, I'll put my feet on that. He's been incredibly good this year. Just doesn't take big plays. And the other thing that I'll note, Houston has a dream Big 12 schedule. They're the only team that gets Arizona, UCF, West Virginia. Who's the other garbage teams in our conference?
Do they play TCU?
Oklahoma State.
TCU?
Yeah, they get West Virginia, UCF, Arizona, Oklahoma State, and Colorado, and Baylor.
Yeah, they play.
See, that sounds like an FCS conference.
It's but this is a team that like barely squeaked by Oregon State. Like barely squeaked by Arizona. And credit to them. You win the games that are on your schedule, but I mean, they could very, very well win out and finish 8-1 in the Big 12. Like that's a real possibility, and I think you have to take them seriously, at least as a contender. I take them more seriously than I do Cincinnati, honestly.
It would be crazy if we got to the end of the year and let's say we beat BYU and that's their only loss, and you beat Houston, that's their only loss, and you are one of 2 Utah losses. That'd be wild.
I'm going to say this. Sorry, Brennan, I know you'll get to it. I think that there's going to be a 2-loss team in the Big 12 title game. I just think BYU plays Cincinnati, you play BYU, Utah gets Cincinnati. These teams are going to pick up some losses. And I think a 2-win team is going to sneak in.
2 win or 2 loss?
2 loss.
2 loss.
2-7 team.
Yeah, Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State's not out of it yet. They're not out of it yet. Yeah, man, it's going to be really interesting to see how that shakes up too. But Houston's just an interesting story because they did beat Arizona State on the road. You didn't. I mean, I know Arizona State didn't have Jordan Tyson, and there was a lot of different factors that lead into that. But still, that's an impressive win, in my opinion. Well too. So, man, it's going to be an exciting week. Utah, I wanted to touch on this. You mentioned Utah being a top 10 team in the country. So what does that say about BYU? I mean, this BYU team, I think we kept saying they haven't played anyone. They haven't beat anyone. They're undefeated. A road game. I know Iowa State's beat up, but they still handled Iowa State at Iowa State. They beat Utah. This team's going to be coming into Lubbock 8-0. I mean, should we be taking BYU more seriously?
Probably. I feel like BYU, I mean this in a compliment, they just know how to win games. I feel like they're never going to be super high up on the predictive analytics or stuff like that, but they obviously just know how to win football games. I mean, over the last 2 years, I'm blanking on their record, but it's got to be the best record over the 2 years in the Big 12 of any team.
Oh, he's got, what are they, 19-2 the last 2 seasons now? Didn't they go 11-2 last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's
insane.
That's hard to do, man. I mean, that's a top program in the country level good right there, right now. So
I will say this. BYU has won a lot of games where their post-game win expectancy was below 50%. They are maybe due.
But what does that mean, Z? I mean, what does that mean? I mean, they still won the game, though, right?
It's like if you are doing things that are not as sustainable, if you're running for 8 yards a carry, you can do that every game. You can't just say have them muff a punt play. That's just not like a play that you can just call. But granted, they capitalize, man. I'm not going to knock any team that finds a way to win, just like Clayton said.
Yeah, well, gosh, man. Well, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait. Thursday, we'll be here to preview the Kansas State game and everything in the Big 12 as well, too. So if you haven't liked and subscribed yet, make sure to do that on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple, so you can catch all of our episodes every Monday and Thursday. But you touched on it. This is going to be the 3rd straight week, by the way, just kind of flirt with give you a sneak peek into my Tommy Tuberville. Well, I will get to I mentioned this last Monday where I was like, maybe another coach will get fired so I can have 3 weeks in a row of Tommy Tubervilles. And sure enough, it happened while the episode was going on and recording. So that's going to be great. Brian Kelly gone. Is this going to be a James Franklin, Brian Kelly flip? Do we see that happening at all?
Honestly, that's not a bad call.
I kind of am envisioning a scenario where Franklin's going to be at LSU and Brian Kelly's going to be at Penn State.
I think I would be down for that if I'm LSU.
I'd be down for that
would
for sure.
too. And if I'm Penn State, I mean, Brian Kelly, I think that's more of his region, fits his personality and vibe a little better.
The accent.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on Brian Kelly. I don't know. If I was Penn State, I don't think I'd be very happy with that.
He's been at 2 of the most storied programs in the country and has never won a national title with either.
And he left Notre Dame because he didn't feel like he could compete for a title there. And then
they play the
title. Takes over. They go to the title game.
Yeah. Hey, Clayton, question for you. You're Penn State's athletic director. Matt Rule or Brian Kelly?
Probably Brian Kelly.
Retirement.
Retirement. Yeah. Shut down the program.
This is the craziest carousel. I have never. Welcome to modern college football. I have never seen a coaching carousel. Tell us maybe in the 80s, 90s, early 2004 we were around, but this is nuts. I cannot believe this has happened. 4 straight weeks in a row.
What is Kelly's buyout?
50 million.
54. Yeah.
Like that's the wild part of this, and you add the staff on top of that. Now, I'm not saying LSU doesn't have donors that can make that happen. They do, obviously, or they wouldn't have done this. But that's where I'm struggling not only with, like, Brian Kelly. Is he a top tier coach of college football? No, he's not. But is he above? Is he a good coach, like, overall? Like, would a lot
No,
of
he's
schools
not.
rather have him?
No.
I'm just kidding.
You would you wouldn't rather? I mean, you're telling
I'm
me
He's
he's
Yeah.
a good coach. His record would bear that out. He's not a national championship winning coach, but how, like, where are you hoping to go now, LSU? Like, who you're paying $50 million to Kelly, and then you're paying out you're buying out the staff.
buyout.
Like who are, and then you got to buy out if you're going to go for a sitting head coach. Like, let's assume it's not James Franklin. Like, where are you getting these hundreds of? And now, I'm not saying they don't have it. It's just, and also, are you actually going to get someone that's better than Kelly? Like, that's yet to be seen. It's just, there's so many questions, but yet the fact that these tens of millions of dollars buyouts are being had just to maybe get a better opportunity. It's like, I mean, I'm not not challenging firing him. Obviously, he need to be fired, but it's like, what are you going to do from here? That's kind of my attitude with, not only, with James Franklin at Penn State, who was much more successful at Penn State than Kelly ever was at LSU. Napier, he needed to go, but Brian, it's like, I don't know. It's weird seeing the way that college football is nowadays.
Yeah.
feel like-
Clayton, I'll let you have a thought, but I'll transition to my Tommy real quick.
Yeah.
It's going to be just SEC athletic departments. Like, I think you're going to see South Carolina, Auburn, Arkansas, LSU, and Florida open this. How are you firing coaches in the conference with the most money? Like,
Did you say Arkansas?
Yeah, Arkansas.
Arkansas, yeah.
And I don't think OU will open, but, like, somebody has to pick up these losses. Like, you're going to go 500. The SEC is going to go 500 in conference play. Like, are we just going to do this cycle? And then how badly the agents have just dominated athletic departments over the last 5 to 7 years. Like, Jimmy Sexton has made his clients, it has to be like, it's got to be close to $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just, they have these athletic departments so screwed. It's like Conrad said, they're probably going to be looking out, if they pay a buyout and they buy out the staff and they do NIL and rev share, you're probably looking at $100 million expenditure over the next 12 months for LSU football. Right?
Is this just a byproduct, Clayton, of the fact that you're in the SEC, you're at or Big Ten, you've got to win now. We're putting money forward. If you're not doing it, you're gone. And people are just willing to cut their losses.
Yeah, I mean, like Zyler said, now that you have all these big time programs in one conference, like there are teams that have to go 7-5 and 8-4. So I feel like, I don't know, maybe this will adjust. I will say though that, like, the Penn State one, it seemed to me is like the only one that was an egregious firing. Like, I think that Napier, if Hugh Freeze gets fired, I think he needed to go.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Kelly, I think they all had plenty of time and hadn't shown anything. But it's like, now you're in a coaching carousel with all these other big time jobs. Do you really want to do that? I don't know.
Welcome to Baton Rouge, Matt Campbell. Or that's like what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, how many good candidates are out there that you actually want, and how quickly do they move? I mean, Iowa State, for example, they're 5-3. They're out of it. If you're moving on a Matt Campbell, you're moving now. You're now competing with Florida, Penn State, LSU, potentially Auburn. You mentioned all the schools. You want Matt Campbell in your building by mid-November, probably, if you're really trying to call him.
Yeah.
Great point, because you think there's only one portal window this year, and it closes like in January, early January. So if
now a fired player, they do have an additional window, or sorry, like, I think they can enter the portal now, I believe, and have 30 days due to a coach's firing.
They get 5 days after the new coach is hired. It actually changed.
After the new coach is hired, that changed. Okay,
wow.
So there's no like David Bailey situation here.
So, okay, but just think about that. Think about this circumstance. Like, if Ole Miss, let's say they're in the playoff, which they almost certainly are going to be. Like, if Florida hires him, he's not going to get to work the portal at all.
Yeah,
because he'll get hired in January.
That's crazy.
This is going to sound, I know, but we're a Tech podcast, so I'm going to go and question this. But Tech goes 11-1, makes the playoff. You guys concerned at all that Joey McGuire gets called?
No.
Oh, no. He's gonna if that happens, we make
He's
the
gonna get
playoff, we win the Big 12.
raised.
He's gonna get the call, but he may be, the statue rendering will start, number one, and then the increase in pay
The
will be
statue rendering.
astronomical. There's no way. I don't know how to bet, but if I did, I would bet a lot. If I had anything to bet and I knew how to bet, I would bet a lot that there's no way Joe McGuire is on another sideline next year. No
He
way.
will get
No
Lance
way.
Leipold's getting like $8 million this year, isn't he? He's like somewhere close. Like I think Joey will have every right to say I should be paid more than that, bozo.
Double.
Yeah. Like, this is what I'm saying about this cycle. Like Lane Kiffin is going to get $1 billion, and he's going to get to demand whatever he wants, guaranteed money. And if he sucks, like it's just going to be crazy.
I would. Okay, which job is better, LSU or Florida?
Florida.
LSU. Oh wow.
Ooh.
I think it's easily
excuse me.
LSU.
I would rather have Florida's roster for the next 3 years than I would LSU's.
Interesting. I'm going to say LSU right now, but I would like to see Florida be better than LSU. I don't like it.
I would say LSU is a better job, but not by. I mean, it's minimal. I mean, those are two blue bloods of college football, and those are both great programs. So I think it's minimal, but LSU.
Yeah, man. Well, so Z, your Tommy, then just to kind of segue into that, your Tommy's SEC athletic departments. Mine's Brian Kelly for the third straight week.
Yeah.
Same equation. New week, same equation. You get fired, you're Brennan's Tommy. So I've had 3 weeks in a row. Let's see if we can make it 4. Looks likely. We'll see.
Yeah.
So Conrad, who you got?
Yeah, my Tommy is the Mississippi State Bulldogs. They were up 38-21 against the University of Texas, proceeded to lose that game. You're up, with 11 minutes, 40 seconds, 38-21 at home, at night, and you lose. I don't understand. Mississippi State, you are my Tommy of the week.
Clayto?
Yeah, mine, we're really heavy on the SEC this week. Mine is lower tier SEC teams whenever they have a lead versus an upper tier team. I swear they just forget how to play football. It's some of the most mind-boggling mistakes you'll ever see. Conrad already talked about Mississippi State, Kentucky last week versus Texas, South Carolina versus Bama, Auburn versus Georgia. Happens every week where you think like one of these top teams is going to take a loss and the other team transforms into like Lubbock Trinity Christian's 7th grade football team for the second half.
I think Greg Sankey's putting in those calls, man. He doesn't want to lose those at-large bids. That's my Galaxy Brain take.
I love the fact that the SEC is dominating this Tommy Tuberville segment this week. That is fantastic. Man, it's going to be great. We'll be back on Thursday too, K-State. We'll see, man. Maybe Dave Aranda gets fired this week if Baylor loses, and I can have another one. We'll see.
No. I want him.
One,
if that
one
happens.
can dream. Yeah, I'll let you have it. We can share it, Conrad.
Yeah.
By the way, Conrad, I ran into a couple people at the game, and they were like, "Where's the Kool-Aid Factory this year? What's Conrad? Why is Conrad ditching the Kool-Aid Factory? What is it? Is it humming at all at 7-1, or the loss shut it down?"
No, things are going great. I think, those people may be in the minority. There were a lot of people that came after me online, sent letters to me that were like, this needs to stop. But if the fans want it back, if the Shufflers want it back, we can bring it back like we used to have it last year. Just let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, man. And we're also going to introduce a new segment on each reaction episode. We're going to have a coverage play of the game this week. It's none other than Jacob Rodriguez. This segment's going to be sponsored by Lubbock Abstract and Title. Jacob's strip sack, running it back for a touchdown, is our coverage play of the game. That's a pretty easy winner for this week. And at Lubbock Abstract Title, we want to thank you for sponsoring this episode. And we know that every play counts, especially on closing day. From kickoff to closing, our team protects your property rights so you can score big with confidence. Lubbock Abstract and Title, your home field advantage. And thank you for sponsoring this episode as well. So we'll be back on Thursday to preview K-State. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Follow us on our social medias. You can find everything. Hey, polos. I was rocking our polo in Lubbock, by the way. Make sure to go to the Broadway Shuffle store. That link will be in the description as well. So, guys, fun episode. Always fun to react to a win. We'll keep this train rolling, and I'll see you guys on Thursday. Everyone have a great week, and Wreck 'em Tech, baby.
He makes the catch. He's going all the way. 20.